Year 2385. Within the depths of space, an uneasy quiet filled the bridge of the UEF star cruiser Eternal. For years, a vicious war had raged between Earth's United Federation and the hostile Zargonian Empire, but a decisive victory remained elusive. Commander Akira Sato stood rigid, arms crossed behind his back, as he gazed out the expansive viewport at the planet Korvan Phi. Down there, among the metallic spires and dense, labyrinthine cityscapes, their target awaited, a high-ranking Zargonian military officer named Zeta. He was a ghost, known only by the code name assigned to him by UEF intelligence. But if captured, his knowledge could turn the tide of this bloody, interminable conflict. That was the mission of Akira's hand-picked team, to capture Zeta and extract whatever intelligence they could. Failure meant more Federation lives lost in a war that had already gone on too long. At Akira's side stood Ryo Ishikawa, the team's technopath. Ryo's brow furrowed as he mentally reviewed the operation. Using his innate telepathic control of technology, he would hack into the Zargonian networks and security systems ahead of the strike team's infiltration. Behind them, locked in his travel pod, the genetically enhanced cyberhound Zen awaited deployment, tail wagging with anticipation. Zen would track Zeta's molecular signature, compensating for any evasive maneuvers. Once they tagged the target, escape would be impossible. Akira's eyes narrowed with determination. "Listen up. Here's the plan." His team gathered around the central holographic display as Akira outlined the details. They would descend in cloaked shuttles to avoid premature detection. Ryo would deploy cyber warfare viruses to paralyze automated defenses and scramble surveillance. Zen would get a scent lock from orbit before they landed. Once inside the city, they would traverse the labyrinth on foot using Zen as a bloodhound. When Zeta was cornered, they would utilize shockwave immobilizers to capture him intact. "Remember, we need Zeta alive," Akira emphasized. "This mission is no good if we can't interrogate him. Watch your fire." His team nodded silently. They knew the stakes, knew the lives that rested on their success or failure. This was no ordinary operation. The course of the war hinged on what they uncovered today. "We have one shot at this," Akira said. "Let's make it count." The shuttles launched under cloak of darkness. As they descended into the planet's atmosphere, Akira watched the looming alien metropolis grow nearer. Somewhere down there, the Zargonian they knew as Zeta remained unaware of the fate about to befall him. The hunt was on. Humanity's future might rest upon what happened in the next few hours. Akira checked his weapon one last time. "You can run, Zeta," he muttered to himself, "but you can't hide from us." The cityscape of Korvan Phi glittered menacingly as Akira's team descended in their cloaked shuttles. Ryo sat with eyes closed, focusing his technopathic mind on the Zargonian networks. "I'm intercepting encrypted communications," Ryo reported, feeding the system false sensor readings indicating routine traffic. "Good," replied Akira. "Mask our approach while I get Zen ready." Akira opened the Cyberhound's travel pod. Zen leapt out, olfactory sensors primed. Akira held a digital tablet displaying Zeta's image. "Seek," commanded Akira. Zen sniffed the tablet, committing Zeta's molecular signature to memory. The hunt was on. The shuttles touched down in a deserted industrial sector. Akira and his team disembarked, weapons raised. This ghost city seemed lifeless, but threats lurked around any corner. They had to stay sharp. Using Zen's leash, Akira guided the Cyberhound into point position. "Track," he ordered. Zen began sweeping, nose to the ground, searching for his quarry's scent. They progressed through the labyrinthine city, tracing the twisting alien architecture. Ryo monitored the hacked networks. "Zeta is on the move," Ryo reported. "He knows we're coming, but my viral agents have him confused." This news quickened Akira's pulse. Keep up the manipulation. Divert him towards the old nursery sector. That derelict region would limit Zeta's escape options, allowing Zen to corner him. But Zeta did not go quietly. Suddenly, warning klaxons blared across the city. "He's found a way to bypass my hacks," shouted Rio. "Zeta's using backdoor security nodes to track us." "Then we track him faster," Akira responded. "Zen, seek!" The cyberhound frantically sniffed the air and took off down an alleyway. The team pursued at full speed. The hunted was now hunter, and a deadly game of cat and mouse had begun. Weaving between metallic buildings, they realized Zeta was attempting escape on a lightning-fast gravity bike. The chase intensified through the labyrinthine city. Zen kept pace using scent tracking to anticipate Zeta's moves. Rio attempted to hack the bike's systems. "If I can sabotage his navigation, he'll be forced to slow down." But Zeta had learned not to underestimate Rio's skills. He released an electromagnetic pulse from the bike, disrupting Rio's connection. "I can't get a lock," shouted Rio. "We have to take him down manually." Akira switched his rifle to EMP mode to disable the bike's anti-grav systems. "On my mark." They took aim at the fleeing Zargonian, but Zeta was outmaneuvering their firing angles. Just as Zeta seemed about to give them the slip, Zen suddenly changed direction down a narrow side street. "The hound's got his scent!" Akira exclaimed. "Shortcut ahead! We can intercept him!" Boosting to maximum speeds, they managed to catch Zeta as he exited an alleyway. In unison, Akira and his team fired EMP bursts. Zeta's bike lost power and crashed, throwing the Zargonian from his seat. Akira rushed forward and pinned Zeta down before he could recover. The Zargonian struggled violently, but Akira kept him restrained. "It's over. You can't escape." Zeta stopped resisting, realizing further conflict was futile. Akira pulled his captive to his feet. "Now you're going to tell us everything." Akira shoved Zeta against the wall of an abandoned construction site. The Zargonian had led them here in a failed escape attempt after his gravity bike crashed. "Talk," demanded Akira. "What are the Zargonian military's plans?" Zeta snarled. "I'll never betray my people." Akira nodded to Rio, who stepped forward menacingly. "Shall I persuade him to be more cooperative?" Rio asked, a trace of psychic energy swirling in his eyes. "Wait," blurted Zeta, well aware of technopathic interrogation tactics. "I'll tell you what I know." Akira crossed his arms. "Wise choice. Start talking." Zeta averted his gaze. "I only have knowledge of troop deployments, nothing strategic." Akira's expression hardened. Zeta was holding back. Akira made another subtle nod to Rio. Sensing their impatience, Zeta added, "But I can provide intelligence on Zargonian weapons facilities." This piqued Akira's interest. Disrupting Zargonian arms production could give the Federation valuable advantage. "And how do we know this isn't a deception?" challenged Akira. Zeta considered his words carefully before responding. "The data is stored in my cranial implant. Let your technopath verify its authenticity." Rio stepped forward, placing a palm on Zeta's forehead. His psychic mind melded with the device. After a moment, Rio opened his eyes. "He's telling the truth. The data could significantly impede Zargonian military assets." Akira pondered this. Damage to production capabilities could reduce enemy troops and warships. "Download the data," he told Rio. "We'll take this one into deeper custody for further interrogation." "No, wait," outburst Zeta. "I fulfilled my end of the deal. You must let me go." He struggled against Akira's grip. Akira tightened his hold. "The deal was information in exchange for your life. We're not done with you yet." He pulled Zeta away, handing the prisoner off to his security team. "What now, Commander?" asked Rio. "The data seems promising, but production facilities will be heavily fortified." Akira's expression turned grim. Then we'll need to capture some additional leverage. He turned to his men guarding Zeta. Load him up. We're heading for the coordinates in his data. They embarked on the shuttles, bound for a vital Zargonian shipyard. On approach, Akira faced Zeta. You're going to give the commands allowing us to infiltrate. Zeta shook his head. I won't betray my people any further. Akira's eyes narrowed. You will if you want to go on living. Zeta weighed his options before finally relenting. Once inside the shipyard, the team rapidly overpowered the crew and took the facility commander hostage. With prisoners in tow, Akira activated the comm, broadcasting to Zargonian High Command. We now control your shipyard. Any military action against our forces will result in its destruction. Our terms will follow. Akira cut the transmission. The pieces were in play. The Federation now held the stronger hand, and Akira was determined to leverage it for total victory. The Zargonians' defeat was imminent. The Zargonian shipyard commander shuddered as Akira's interrogation droid extended its cerebral probes. I won't submit to this, he shouted in defiance. Akira leaned forward menacingly. You can make this easy by cooperating fully, or we'll extract the intelligence by force. When the commander still refused to talk, Akira nodded to the droid. It began probing the Zargonian's mind, eliciting cries of anguish. After some time, Akira held up a hand. Enough. The droid withdrew its instruments as the commander slumped forward, dazed but cognizant. Akira repeated his demands. Give us strategic details now, and the pain stops. Seeing no other option, the commander finally acquiesced. Download access codes, he muttered in submission. The droid extracted the data directly from his neural pathways. Akira's expression remained hard. Good. Now, relay command directives ordering all forces to stand down from combat stance. With the commander's compliance, Akira broadcast new demands to High Command, utilizing the stolen access codes. As a show of good faith, you will deactivate all planetary defense grids in disputed territories. Refusal will be seen as an act of war. Rio monitored the network traffic closely. They're complying, Commander. Defense grids are powering down across multiple sectors. Akira allowed himself a grim smile. By leveraging Zargonian lives and assets, he was forcing them into major concessions. Even proud warriors bowed before sufficient pressure. Keep manipulating their command protocols, Akira told Rio, and have our science teams begin analyzing the shipyard schematics. Disrupting Zargonian production capabilities could win this war. He had to keep pressing the advantage. Having extracted sufficient compliance from the commander, Akira had him confined under heavy guard. The agent then turned his attention to Zeta, the original prisoner whose capture had yielded this opportunity. It seems you are more valuable than you first led me to believe, Akira mused. High Command is willing to make significant sacrifices just to see you safely returned. Zeta averted his gaze. My rank is not as low as your assumption, he admitted cryptically. Akira's eyes narrowed. Just how high does your status go? If he could capture an even more critical Zargonian, the Federation's position would become virtually untouchable. Zeta hesitated before offering a bombshell revelation. I am what you would call a lieutenant commander in the Zargonian Intelligence Directorate. Akira was stunned. He hadn't captured some mid-level officer. Zeta was a high-value target. Immediately, Akira's mind raced with new plans. They could force a full Zargonian surrender. But first, Akira needed to exploit his new prisoner to the fullest. He would bleed Zeta's mind dry of every scrap of insider intelligence. The Zargonian Empire would crumble, and humanity would finally taste victory. Akira stood rigid on the bridge of the Eternal as a Zargonian cruiser approached. While awaiting their high-level prisoner exchange, the atmosphere was tense. You believe they will honor this arrangement? Rio asked skeptically. They have no choice with the assets we control, Akira replied, but stay vigilant for treachery. Per negotiations, the Zargonians had agreed to a prisoner swap, the captured shipyard commander in exchange for their lieutenant commander Zeta. Akira had demanded a Zargonian official of equal rank as security. The airlock doors slid open, admitting the Zargonian delegation. Their leader, an imposing General Trax, confronted Akira. "Where is Commander Zeta?" he demanded. Akira nodded to his guards. Zeta was brought out in restraints and handed over to Trax, who examined him briefly. "You appear unharmed." "For the most part," Zeta replied. He shot Akira a venomous look. Trax turned back to Akira. "Now release Commander Vex as agreed." Akira signaled his guards again. The shipyard commander was brought to Trax, who also examined him. "It seems you have upheld your terms," Trax conceded. "Therefore, I will uphold mine." He handed Akira an encrypted data cylinder. "This contains vulnerable intelligence on our inner fleet operations." Akira plugged the cylinder into his console, quickly validating the data. Reo scanned through it eagerly. "This could allow us to disrupt their entire command structure." Trax shook his head. "We may be enemies, but I am still bound by honor. Use the intelligence as you must." Akira considered his words. "Your integrity is admirable. Perhaps one day our peoples can reconcile." "That day may come sooner than you anticipate," Trax replied cryptically. "But we shall see." With prisoners exchanged, the Zargonians departed. Akira stood in contemplation as Rio grasped his shoulder. "You took an immense gamble, yet it paid off tremendously," Rio said. "You have given us a chance for peace." Akira nodded solemnly. "All I want is for the bloodshed to end. We must mend this rift between our civilizations." In the days that followed, Akira's team strategically utilized the Zargonian intelligence to neutralize their military apparatus and force a ceasefire. Meanwhile, Akira established a confidential dialogue with General Trax. After much tense negotiation, a historic treaty was struck. The Zargonian Empire relinquished disputed territories, while the Federation lifted economic sanctions. Exchanges of knowledge and culture were initiated, ushering in a new era of cooperation. As Akira overlooked the Zargonian capital, now bustling with Federation emissaries, he allowed himself to feel optimistic for the first time in years. Perhaps this peace would last. If so, it would stand as a testament to the power of resolve, the courage to take bold risks for progress, and above all, the human spirit's capacity to overcome.